Recently, I made my first ever batch of whiskey or bourbon. Research it, mash it, boil it, ferment it, drink it, analyze it, share it. Home brewing is good. Right now, I'm going to turn it into bourbon by aging it on some white oak, as well as a specialty wood in a separate batch called Amburana I got from my friends at Black Swan Cooperage. Check them out, links below. Let's jump right into it. So here's a look at one of the smaller Black Swan pieces. This is a chunk of Amburana, and the smell on this stuff is just amazing. Don't know what it does in spirit, but I want to try it. It does wonderful things in beer. Black Swan is a real deal legit cooperage. They aren't just people selling you wood that they got from somewhere. These guys make barrels, in fact. They are experts. All these holes and all this just adds surface area and it speeds up contact time. Here's a piece of the white oak. And this, the honeycomb, once again, the honeycomb allows surface area. This stuff is a medium toast made by Black Swan. All right, we start with a small jar. Here's our base spirit. That all grain whiskey. And this is sitting at 120 proof. That's barrel proof. Drop the funnel on so as we don't waste a drop. Then drop in that piece of oak. Fill the last jar. We're going to treat this one with one little piece of that sweet, sweet Amburana. All right, so we'll put these into our ultrasonic bath. This cleaner has been modified so the timer no longer works and it will maintain heat as long as it's turned on. So we'll go ahead and kick it on. And we're gonna leave these in the ultrasonic for about 24 hours. After about 24 hours in the ultrasonic, and then honestly another 4 weeks of just aging on the shelf because I forgot about it, this is what we had left. I mean, look at the color on this. The color is perfect, and man, when we get to tasting and smelling, you'll understand. But first, it is time to get all this stuff off of the wood. So I did that with just a simple strainer. I used just a coffee filter and strained it out. Everything went fine. Just dump it in there and pour it through the coffee filter. I wound up saving this piece of wood for later, and you'll see what I did with it. I went ahead and strained them both off. That was the oak as well as the Amburana. And the Amburana is one that, man, is super Christmassy in my book, but we're not there yet. I'm getting ahead of myself, but just look at the color of this and the smell. It is just luxurious and decadent and more than I could have hoped for. There's the Amburana. Again, this one is holiday to me, Christmas, nutmeg. I'm not supposed to talk about the taste and smell yet, but man, it is just as good. It's just different. Super, super cool stuff. It's amazing what we can do with a little bit of high quality wood and a little bit of patience. I reused that oak stave into some base spirit just to see what it would do. All right, guys, here we are back to taste this stuff. So first things first, we are going to try the base spirit, and this is the one that you just watched me make. If you haven't, I will link that video. I highly recommend you check it out. On the nose, you know, it smells I can smell definitely the maltiness. It comes through on the nose. It's quite warm. This will be my first sip coming in at like 121 proof. Whew. So that first sip, good burn from the alcohol. My palate is not used to that. It's the first drink of the day. Immediately, you know, I get like the maltiness. That chocolate malt is there, I think, and big pepper from the rye, and then sweetness from the corn. And it just warms the back of your throat. Really a pleasant aftertaste. Yeah, she's strong. Probably better dilute it down to a little bit less. Then the next one I took, like I said in the other video, after I pulled the stave out of the one that we're gonna call Bourbon, I took and just threw that stave into this. I split my base spirit in half just to see what it'd do, like a second use. And this one has changed, admittedly. It's months old and now it's colder in here. It's definitely taken on a more vegetal flavor and taste. I think it's the cold weather. It did change when we got out of the summer kind of warmness, or even the fall. The weather was pretty warm. It's not bad. You know, the color is light, but it tastes to me like it could be a Maker's Mark or something similar. Definitely a lot more, it's a lot smoother on my palate. I still get the alcohol heat. Some of the, still a similar nose, but a little more subdued, more well-rounded. It does taste better, but it's still, there just wasn't enough oak or enough time. I did no rapid aging on that one in the ultrasonic. Side note, if you want to see a video on how to modify an ultrasonic cleaner relatively safely, I'd love to put that together if you're interested, so comment below and I'll show you how I did mine. Next up is the one that I did on the Amburana, that little tiny piece. It's one they gave me at the craft beer conference 2024. Actually, I got a handful of them. I got big hands. And man, it just, on the nose, it smells super holiday. It doesn't smell like anything else. You know, that's really a fragrant wood. It's not very dense. I didn't leave it on the Amburana very long. I think this did like 24 hours in the ultrasonic and then maybe a week just sitting, you know. And so I took it off because I didn't want it to go too past what it is. And what is it? Like nutmeg, almost cinnamon, but it's not. The same backbone there, the same malt and the rye. And there's a sweetness to it more than the corn, I think, just from the Amburana itself. Again, it's an interesting drink. To me, it screams holiday. This one is pretty good. It's not bad at all. Really interesting and super cool. What you could do with a little bit of wood and some patience. The next up in this small little jar, and obviously I've been drinking on this one a little bit, but just trying to save it, and finally now we're making the video. After the second take, it's all kind of a blur. This is the one that we're calling Bourbon. And the color of this, it's just, and the texture, man, it's just luxurious, decadent. It's really, I'm very impressed with what you could do. Don't be afraid to try this. I highly recommend everyone try this. It's, you know, you can make a really good drink. And the nose on this, very similar, but more complex, more well-rounded. At this point, it's been, you know, did a good amount of time on the oak, just been sitting, not aging anymore in this jar, clearly. This one, I think, I know I might have said in the other video, I let it go for only 2 weeks. This one sat on that oak, you know, for like a month and a half or 2 months. So it definitely did a long time on the oak compared to the others. And that oak with the holes and stuff, a lot of surface area. This one's different. It's a little sweet from the corn. It's peppery to me. For whatever reason, that rye really shines. At least that's what I think the rye is. Super peppery. It's high proof, but it's just really good. You know, the difference from here to here is quite striking. I mean, this one, boy, just super thick on your palate. Really not a bad drink at all. All right, guys, so that's it. That is my first time ever aging any kind of spirit on wood. I highly recommend, if you're considering it, definitely try it. I have to recommend Black Swan Cooperage. I will link them below. They have some, the website isn't the best, but they do ship, and they have some really interesting products. Let them know that I sent you. It's not an affiliate link, but just let them know that Bradley pointed you their direction. They are an awesome group of people. They do some good stuff. And clearly you as the distiller are making what goes in the barrel or on the oak. And that's what really matters. So remember, I've been Bradley. Home brewing is good, and I'll see you real soon. Yeah. Whew. After a few takes of that, you'll just be drunk. Whew. You don't know this, but I had to reshoot everything twice. And yeah, that is something that will change you. Liquor. Yeah, need some water. Well, I'm not doing anything else tonight. Man, it's pretty good. I don't think I had much lunch today, and I'm getting liquored up. Could be worse. So